This one's starting with a Carp Talk magazine from the end of May in 2012, while Ian Russell, much younger and much better looking, was landing this stunning 57.5 pound carp from the Avenue in Staffordshire. He also made it into the magazine too. Not quite as good as Ian Russell's catch, but having my new English PB at £30 2 ounce. Now I remember this like it happened yesterday. I'd been fishing Orchid Lake for a few months prior to this trip. It was getting very difficult to catch the carp as they were coming up to spawning. I was fishing on a size 6 curved shank hook with 2 grains of pop-up corn. I'd previously landed myself a couple of 20s and then the rod ripped off, and as this one went over the cord, I wasn't sure if it was going to break the £30 mark. After weighing it, it tipped the scales at £30 2 ounce. Yes, only a low 30, but nevertheless a new UK PB. I was buzzing. And to this day, I still have the photo hanging up on my living room wall. So, with all that being said, I've come to Trent View Carp Fishery near Nottingham. This lake holds over 1,020 pound carp and over 90 30s. The lake record is currently a 45 pound carp called Gutsy. Now I would love to catch that one, but the chances of me hooking into that are very slim. So my target carp is anything over £30 to beat my UK PB. Anyway, furthermore, there's plenty to go at. It's not that busy down here this weekend, so let's find a peg, get this show on the road. My name's Lee, and you're watching Bedtime Stories, Carp Adventures. Just like at any venue, whether it's one I've fished before or a new one, I think it's always a good idea to do a couple of laps of the lake to see if you can see any showing carp or any small indications to help you decide where to put your rods out. And this is peg 7. It's a double swim. It's a shame it's a double swim. It's got a nice bit of water, but it is the shallow end of Trent View. But yeah, would be a nice peg to fish in the summer. But shame it's not summer, it's winter. I've walked between pegs 1 and 15 for about half an hour, and I've seen a carp roll about 5 to 6 rod lengths out in front of peg 14. I'm just making my way back to the car so I can see if there's anything showing on the other side of the lake. After all, never commit to just the first spot you come to. After spending 5 or 10 minutes talking to a guy who was just packing up in peg 33, he's been here since Monday and not had a single run. So that doesn't look very promising for this side of the lake. There's a few pegs available down this side, but I can already feel the chill coming through the car window. It is a cold day. Spent about 10 minutes in peg 40, just sitting in the car where it was warm, watching the water. Parked the car up in a safe spot and walked up to peg 46 and peg 47. Now peg 47 on the complex is a double swim, so I can't fish there. I haven't seen anything while I've been here. I've been here now for about 20 minutes. Well, I'm not going to lie, for the little bit of filming I've done so far, my hands are freezing cold. There's a very cold northeast wind blowing straight at my face, and it's been blowing a very cold northeast wind for the past week. I always keep an eye on what the weather's doing. Part of my prep before I come to any venue is checking which way the wind's blowing. Try locate the carp, might be a bit easier using a little bit of watercraft. Just gone 11:05. I haven't got the rods out yet. What I've been doing is sending the bait boat out using the deeper, trying to find the depths of the pegs and what's in front of me basically. So I'm now in peg 14. I've sent the boat out and let me show you what I've found. I've got the deeper connected to the back of the boat, and as you're about to see, once it went over the marginal shelf, yes, there was a carp. The marginal shelf drops down into about 12 foot of water, which flattens out onto a lovely gravel spot, and gravel on the deeper shows up nice and shiny, and as you can see, it doesn't come much cleaner than this. So I turned the boat around and brought it back, and again, on the way in, showing carp on the marginal shelf. There we go, proper result. I've sent the boat out through probably 6 swims, and peg 14 is the only swim where I've seen the carp showing on the deeper. So yes, I guess I'm going to set up in peg 14. Course part there, and peg 14 just there. Now, obviously due to all of the floods and the really crap weather, it's a little bit muddy, but I have found myself a nice little hard spot out of the mud. Put my rods a little bit further over to the left. Let's take a look at where I shall be dwelling for the next 48 hours. Same setup as always. I never really do anything different. Always got my little bivvy table with me, space underneath my bed chair to put my bags, so on and so on, and my kettle always goes down to the left, which I'll be boiling in a minute because I would love a cuppa. That's everything set up, so let's take a look at what bait I'll be using on this session. I'm going in with two different tactics. It might seem odd to be using boilies in winter, but let me explain. Back in November when I was at the Northwest Carp Show, I bought 5 kilo of cold water green beast by DT Baits. The boilies have been designed to be used specifically in winter, and they have a faster breakdown period, making it easier for the carp to digest. I also bought some matching liquid booster. It says shake to activate. I'm adding about a third of the bottle into the boilies. Not only does this boost them, but it helps to make them softer. Then give them a right good shake, making sure that all the boilies are evenly coated with the liquid. Now, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'm giving away all of my secrets today. I took the boilies back in the house and filled the bucket up with some warm water and left them soak overnight, and that's made them even softer. That's the setup for the left rod. What's going on at the business end? Well, I'm using a helicopter setup with a stiff boom and a Ronnie rig and a creamy white milky toffee pop-up. Been stood here watching that stick going up and down, just bobbing away, and I'm pretty convinced that there's something snagged up on it, because 1 minute it's high, then it's low, then it's down again. Now it's disappeared. I'll show you again in a minute. And the bobbing stick is back again. You see it moving around, look. There you go, definitely something attached to that stick. Just had my first run from Trent View, and you know this sticky thing that was bouncing up and down that I was filming earlier? Well, there's definitely a carp attached to the end of that trailing line, because I've had a run, it's gone did, I've hit into it, there was definitely a carp on the end of it, and as I've been reeling in, I've seen coming to the surface what looks like an adjustable zig float. So I'm guessing the carp has been hooked on an adjustable zig and it's snapped off. How it's trailing the actual zig float, I don't know, because that should have come free and come off. But yeah, I got the carp pretty close to netting it, and then my hook's pulled and the carp's just gone back on its merry way with the hook in its mouth still and the zig float. So yeah, bit disappointing to know that there's a carp swimming around with a hook in its mouth and a zig float on it, but I did try get it in, it just didn't work out the way that I planned. Anyway, I've cast the rod back out on the spot. Let's see what happens. So on to the second tactic. I'm using sticky bloodworm pallets in 4 and 6 mil, and I'm coating them with some bloodworm liquid compound from CC Mold. Same as always, give them a real good shake, making sure the liquid covers all of the pallets, and then put a small amount inside a solid PVA bag and you're good to go. The hook bait I'm using is a Northern Special red dumbbell wafter. If you've been following the channel, you might be wondering where Truffle is. Well, mind, body and soul, she isn't with me on this one because she's coming to season. But my sleeping bag sure smells like she is. Ten to 7, and it's my first night on Trent View. And my first impressions of the venue, well, it's a good sized lake, it's 28 acres. So like I said, there's plenty water to go at, and over those 28 acres, there's 47 swims. So is that too many for 28 acres? But it is winter and there's not many people here at the moment. Moving forward, what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to sit and watch the challenge with Mark Pictures. His new one's just come out, so don't, you know, swap over from my video. Keep watching this and then go watch that one after. I've also brought something with me to keep me warm. Let's take a look at it. It's currently 2 degrees at the moment, and with the temperature dropping down to 0 at round about midnight tonight, I made myself a little hobo stove. Very simple, just a baked bean can with a little flue at the top for the smoke come out. The base is just a quarter mainline tin. I think I had something like touchdown in it. I suppose the tin doesn't really matter. That just keeps it lifted and off the floor using those 6-inch bolts. So yes, when the temperature drops a little bit cooler, I will light it. I'm not quite ready to light it at the moment. I'm warm enough, you know, bringing the winter clothing and all, that helps. But to be honest with you, you can't beat a nice little warm fire. There we go, a little hobo stove. When you're fishing out in the winter, you don't necessarily need burn the entire forest down to keep warm. You just want enough heat to keep you warmer than you originally was. That's the first night on Trent View, all done and dusted. I did have a few liners. I stayed up till about 11:30 last night. I was watching the challenge with Pictures and Harry, and to be honest with you, after watching them two catch some banging Belgian carp, it just whet my appetite even more. While I was watching that last night, it got me thinking about the costs involved in carp fishing and what people may want from their fishing. So I've kind of broke it down into 2 categories. The first category would be if you're looking to catch a lot of carp and you just want runs, then get yourself on a club water or to a local venue that has a really good stock of carp. That's the cheapest way to get yourself out on the bank. The second one is really expensive, to be honest with you. I've been crunching a few numbers, and if you wanted to do, let's say, a 48-hour session on these particular venues with big girls, lots of big carp swimming around, you're going to pay top dollar. To be honest with you, a 48-hour session is £60 and a 72-hour session is £90. So let's say you want to go out for 6 sessions throughout the year and you're just doing 48-hour sessions. 6 48-hour sessions, including your food, bait and your petrol, could possibly work out at just under £800. Now, if you're doing 72-hour sessions, including your bait, food and your petrol, you're chalking up 960 quid. That's just to do 6 sessions. So that's probably 1 session a month. And if you're lucky enough, out of those 6 sessions, you might actually catch a carp. So, yes, a lot of money involved in carp fishing at the moment. What are you looking for? You know, that's going to vary from person to person. For me on this particular session, yes, I'm willing to throw a bit of money at it because I'm chasing a PB. Just gone 10:30, I've recast the right hand side rod, so that's a fresh solid PVA bag out on that spot. Using the boat, I've just dropped some more squished up boilies over the left rod. So while I'm waiting for the rods burst into action, here's something that doesn't happen to me every day. Back in December, I was contacted by a company called Mudman, and to my surprise, they wanted me to do some honest reviews of their products that they have. Now it's mostly terminal tackle, so of course I agreed and said yes. So we had a chat and exchanged details, and then in January I received the package through the post. So let's see what they sent. Disclaimer: this is not a paid promotion. The products I receive are free of charge. No money said being exchanged for me to do this product review. The comments made are my own honest opinion. The package contains 7 items, a selection of hooks, spinner swivels, floss caps and kickers. This is just a few products that Mudman do. Let's take a look at the hooks first. These are the Curve and X Curve. This hook's sharp because taking it out the packet, it's stuck in my finger. But let's test the rest. First test is the sharpness test. Then the easiest way to see if a hook is sharp is just run it over your fingernail, and if it digs in, you're good to go. I've been testing all of the X-curve, and here's one that I would consider not to be that sharp. As you can see, it just doesn't really grip or dig into my fingernail. I've done a sharpness test on each hook out of every pack, and to be honest, one or two could have been a bit sharper. I've selected 3 hooks at random out of each pack. To check the strength of the hook, I'm going to tie up a simple multi-rig using soft coated braid. The good thing about using the multi-rig is it's a very simple rig to tie, just using one simple knot, a figure of 8 loop knot. And because I've got 12 hooks to check, this is the quickest way to change the hook. Using a puller tool, pull the knot down tight, and then snip off the tag end. A quick tip, cut a small piece of dental floss, put the dental floss through the loop of the soft coated braid, then thread both tag ends of the dental floss through the eye of the hook. This will make it easier. Pull the loop you made in the soft coated braid through the eye of the hook. Then pull out the bait floss. Pull the loop in the soft coated braid over the point of the hook, and there you go. That's the multi-rig nearly completed. Just add on a kicker, then tie another figure 8 loop knot to complete the rig. I haven't put the micro ring swivel on because this is just a strength test, so no hook bait. Again, use the puller tool to pull the knot tight. Snip off the tag end. Put the hook over the puller tool and using a pair of pliers to hold the hook link. Give it a pull. This will check the strength and also pull down your knots. And yes, I'm pulling pretty hard, so these hooks are strong. I repeated the same test over the 12 hooks and they were all good. Spinner swivels are very useful for making Ronnie rigs, so I've made one up and I'm using it on the session now. As for the floss stops, I personally don't use them in my fishing, but if you want some, you can get them. With shrink tubing becoming a thing of the past, kickers are becoming more popular and I do use them a lot. I do like the colour of the packaging, and it's good to see that all of the writing is in a large print and easy to read. And there you go, just an honest product review of some items I received free of charge from Mudman. If you're after some terminal tackle, go check them out. 5:45 going into the second night of the session on Trent View. There's not been a lot happening today, but I have got something to tell you. I've made a slight rig adjustment. I've gone from using a white pop-up to a pink pop-up. That's about as exciting as it gets. Anyway, I'm going to cook my tea. It's a Rustler's burger for tonight. While the burger cooks up, I'm going to eat one of these Scotch eggs. There's nothing like a hot burger on a cold winter's night. Keep it warm. That tastes good too. With the winter temperatures forever dropping, it did get cold last night, down to 0 degrees. But I was happy, comfortable and warm in my sleeping bag. Just gone 8:30, that's the second night on Trent View done. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, if you're going to come to these places, I've spent 60 quid. To be honest with you, you can't spend 60 quid and be expected to catch a new PB straight off. Because to be honest with you, sometimes in fishing, there is a lot of luck involved. Besides having lady luck on your side, there's probably 3 factors that you need taken into consideration. The first one being location. For me, this is the most crucial. The second being bait application, and the third, getting the right rig on the right spot. And if you can pull all of these 3 factors together, you're in with a damn good chance of catching a carp. My name's Lee, and you've been watching Bedtime Stories, Carp Adventures. Maybe a 4th factor, are the carp hungry? Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.